Taxes in America have been entangled since day one. The colonies were fuming over British taxes. Tea, stamps, you name it. The whole taxation without representation thing? Yeah, that wasn't just a slogan. It was fuel for revolution. Fast forward to independence, and suddenly the US had a new problem. How to fund a brand new country. Enter tariffs. In the early days, the government hated direct taxation, so it relied on import tariffs instead. For decades, taxing foreign goods was the name of the game. It was simple, efficient, and didn't anger citizens. But as the country expanded and costs skyrocketed, tariffs weren't cutting it. The government needed more money. Then came the Civil War, and suddenly things got serious. Fighting a war is expensive, so Congress introduced the first federal income tax in 1861, a temporary fix to help fund the Union. It started as a flat 3% tax on incomes over $800, but enforcement was shaky. In 1862, Congress revamped the system, creating a progressive tax structure where higher earners paid more, and establishing the Office of the Commissioner of Internal Revenue, the first version of the IRS. Tax collectors literally went door to door, asking people about their income and calculating taxes on the spot. After the war ended, people wanted income tax gone, and Congress obliged, scrapping it in 1872. The country went back to relying on tariffs, but by the late 1800s, industrialization was booming, and wealth inequality was off the charts. Congress passed a new income tax in 1894, but the Supreme Court struck it down in Pollock v. Farmers Loan and Trust Co., arguing that it wasn't properly apportioned among the states. Congress wasn't about to let that slide. In 1913, they fired back with the 16th Amendment, officially giving the government unrestricted power to tax income. This was the birth of the modern tax system, and enforcement became serious business, especially during World War II, when tax collection became permanent. Before World War II, people paid taxes in lump sums, but in 1943, the government introduced automatic paycheck withholding, making sure it got paid before workers even saw their money. And speaking of World War II, tax rates were brutal. The highest tax rate hit 94% in 1944. Imagine making $1 and only keeping 6 cents. But those taxes helped fund the war, and the system stuck around long after. Then came the Reagan Revolution of the 1980s. Reagan cut taxes big time, claiming it would spark economic growth. His Tax Reform Act of 1986 slashed rates, simplified the tax code, and eliminated loopholes, but it also led to rising deficits. It was one of the largest tax cuts in U.S. history, reducing revenues by 2.9% of GDP. But here's the twist. Reagan later raised taxes multiple times to deal with the ballooning deficit. His policies weren't just about taxes. He also pursued widespread deregulation, betting that fewer rules would boost innovation and competition. Fast forward to 2017, and Trump's Tax Cuts and Jobs Act echoed Reagan's playbook, lowering corporate tax rates from 35% to 21% and adjusting individual brackets. But like past tax cuts, it had winners and losers, and the deficit kept climbing. Trump's tax cuts were actually smaller in comparison, reducing revenues by 0.6% of GDP, but they shared the same supply-side strategy Reagan championed. Today, the U.S. tax system is a beast. Income taxes, corporate taxes, payroll taxes, estate taxes, digital taxes, the list is endless. But one thing hasn't changed since 1776. Americans will always argue over taxes, and the government will always find a way to collect them. If you want clear myth-busting tax insights, hit subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.